Today is the Thursday, 7th of November, 2024. So we're live streaming from Radhakund, and we're into the 22nd day of our Kartik Parikrama. And today the main Parikrama, who've been doing all the different places, which are part of Madhav Maharaj's Parikrama, they're going to Varsana today. Very, very beautiful Parikrama. So we'll sort of scroll through all those places after our kirtan when we begin. So we'll discuss those places a little bit, and then we'll go back to our Damodarastakam verse 5. So first of all, we'll chant our mantra for this month.
Namamishvaram Satchidanandarupam Asatmanam Gopule Prajamanam Yashodhariyorukalatavanam Paramesam Adyantam Rudantamurnetra Yumram Vrijantam Karam Bhadrayurmena Satankanetram Muhusasakam Bhaktiye Handakanta Stita Prayatamogaram Bhakti-bhadram Trisvahilavi Anantatunde Swarojani Vajantam Akyapayantam Tadeishita Neshu Bhatyajitavam Puna Prematrastam Sahavriti-vande Varam Deva Moksham Mokshavadinva Natyanyam Vineham Vaishadadiya Iram Deva Kurnatam Upalabhanim Sada Vimanasya Vilastam Idam te mukham bhojam ajantanilai Vrudam kundalai snigdharatsaisarobhya Muhuskumbitam bimbaracharambe Manasya vishasama lakshnatunave Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodokam Jalabhimadham Privad Kristi Vishyati Dinam Vatanu Dohani Shama Bhadyam Tejakshudrishya Kuberama Jogada Mutyaiva Yadva Payamachito Bhakti Vajaprinocha Tata Prema Bhaktim Swakam Nigrayacha Namo Shriyo Mesi Damodareha Namaste Stunande Sporaditi Gamne Variyodayata Vishwasya Gamne Namo Radhikaya Variya Priyaya Namo Nataliyaya Devaya Jyam
Radha Damodarju ki jai. Jai Shri Radha Govinda Dev ki jai. Jai Nityananda Rai ki jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tarasara Shishimad. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tarasara Shishimad. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tarasara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om. Asto Tarasara Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Vibhushan Gauri Bharantaracharya ki jai. Jai Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya ki jai. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Paradasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's ki jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parasada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sigahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Antadvip Mayapur Simantadvip Gautranadvip Madhyadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janadvip Modandvip Rudradvip Apnaka Navadvip Dham ki jai. Badaravan Bandiravan Belvan Lohavan Mahavan Madhuvan Taivan Kamudvan Bahulavan Vrindavan Kadiavan Brajamandal ki jai. Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopiko Govardhan Dwarasavar Matmika Shri Brajamandal ki jai. Radha Kun Shama Kun Ganga Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani ki jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani ki jai. Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani ki jai. Jai Gopishwa Mahadev ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai. Ketramandal ki jai. Sarva Vigna Vanasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charidham ki jai. Chari Sampradaya ki jai. Chari Acharya ki jai. Akara Mat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat ki jai. Grantaraj Shri Mad Bhagavatam ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Ho. Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadavaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Tadati Shwapadantikam Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhurika Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuranavartinokala, Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundaratuti Katamba Satipita, Sada Hridare Kandare Svudatu Vasachinandanaha, Yam Prabhajantam Anapetyam Apet Krityam, Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Taravo Vinidustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktiya Vina Aparada Lakshay Shiktascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurasmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Baradram Tato Mamrastikati Anakapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Idivik Weather's getting colder. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tadasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. and all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha kalpa turubhyascha, kripa sindhubhyacha, patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnave namo namaha. So today the Parikram is really, really sweet when we go to Varsana and we do the Parikrama of Varsana and we come to the famous, incredible Sankari core where only one person at a time can get through. Doesn't matter how many your Parikrama party is, you still have to go one at a time through Sankari core. So of course this was the place where Krishna would enact his tax pastimes. On one side is Brahma Parvat, the head of Lord Brahma. On the other side is Vishnu Parvat, Vishnu. So these mountains are there. Brahma prayed to be able to hold up Shri Radhika's home in Varsana. And he is there, and Shivji, Nandagaon, is in Nandagaon. So we come through Sankari Core, very small gully, and we always have kirtans and very ecstatic dancing right there on the trail. Then we come down through Sankari Core, then we come to Chiksholi, the town of Chitradidi, Chitrasakhi, and this is a very sweet ancient town, and we come through there, and then we come around into Gaharvan, the big square where they have a huge like industrial-sized kitchen there now, feeding thousands and thousands of pilgrims all the time. They have one of these chapati making machines that can do about 40 or 50 chapatis at a time. So I think it must be people from Punjab who do that because they always do it in a big way, the Sikhs. And then we see on the hill, just as we come up on our right, what is it? Mukha, Morkuti. And then there's the steps going up there. Many steps. We used to run up the steps and see beautiful Radha and Krishna in the darshan of dancing as peacocks. Incredible, so extraordinary and sweet, that pastime. And then we come down again, and then we start walking up through Gaharvan, and then there's Danga, then there's Manga, and what's the next? Vilasgar. All these places are there. It's very, very sweet. Everything about Varsana is sweet, a reflection of Srimati Radhika. And then we come to Shriji, the mandir itself, which is so beautiful, right situated on top of the hill. And we get tremendous darshans from there. And then we come down the other side and we walk through the village a little bit and we come to Pili Puka, which is the beautiful pastime where Shri Radhika tried to wash the turmeric from her hands and the whole kund went pili, yellow. And that was when the marriage was tried to be arranged between Radha and Krishna, but Yogamaya had a different plan, so it wasn't arranged. And then from Pili Puka, we walk down maybe a kilometer and a half to Uchagan, which is the home of Lalita Sakhi. Lalita Sakhi is born in Kerala, another village close by, but her home is in Uchagan. And right there is Deha Kund. Deha Kund is in Uchagan, and then we have the temple of Lalita Sakhi on the hill, just close by. These are all really enlivening, beautiful places to be. And then from there, we walk to Sakhi Giri Parvat, just through the little sand path, and we come to that beautiful hill where they tied Lalita Sakhi's sari and Krishna's pitamba together. And then they started clapping and singing wedding songs. Tunga Vidya was doing the wedding songs. So they became married, Lalita Sakhi and Krishna there, in Sakigiri Parvat, yes. And it has the red Sindhu marked in the rock. And it just seems to come always, doesn't matter how much rain comes or how much you take it, it's always just coming. So you get your red, huh?
Alta Pahadi we say, I think.
No. Sakigiri Parvat? Is it called that? No. It's here. Not the altar on the feet. It's the Sindhu. That's another place, I think. I think. Yes. And actually, you should know that there's a road from Sakigiri Parvat just behind that goes for about 3 or 4 kilometers and you get to Kamyavan. But we always take the very long road around to Kamyavan, which is via Nandagaon, and it's a horrible road because all the trucks with their rocks that they've been taking from the mountains drive on it, and the road is completely smashed, which seems a futile thing to do. But that's what they're doing anyway. But that's where Mother Yashoda, of course, comes from, Kamyavan. So traditionally, Mother Yashoda lived very close to Kirtidar and Brishvanu Maharaj. So their relationship was very thick from birth, because geographically the towns are very close together. But we don't usually go that route unless you've got a tractor and trailer to go that route. But in that route, there's a beautiful forest called Kadamba Keri. And it's a beautiful, huge Kadamba forest still today. So many places there. And afterwards, finally, they're going to go to Suryakund today, which means they get back in their buses and they drive around quite a distance. They come to the little village where Suryadev, he's the Mahant of the village, and they have a nice Gaudiya temple there now, and a beautiful murti of Suryadev, the sun. And this is, of course, where Srimati Radhika and all her friends would come and perform puja, and Krishna would take the disguise of a Brahmin boy, and Madhu Mangal would be his servant, and they'd completely fool Jatila to thinking that they were tremendous educated brahmanas. Krishna would chant all funny mantras, and Lalita Saki and the other Sakis, they would realize immediately this is Krishna. Because understand, whenever Krishna puts on a disguise, who's putting on the disguise for him? It's Vrindadevi, who is like an embodiment of Yogamaya. So practically, Krishna becomes just like that person. It's not like we would put on a stage dress or something like that. He becomes completely like a Brahmin boy. So no one can tell, not even Radhika can tell, until he starts chanting funny mantras.
Recognize his mood.
Huh?
Recognize his mood.
Sorry?
He starts making jokes and stuff. They can
Yes.
recognize his mood.
Yes.
Know
It's a very beautiful pastime. So all these pastimes is sweet and sweet and sweet. Everything in Varshana is sweet. So today, this is where the Parikrama went. So Varshana ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Of course, previously they were living in Raval with Krishna in Gokul. Then the whole community of Rishvana Maharaj moved to Varshana. They traveled through there. Okay, so hearing all these leelas actually in Vrindavan during Kartik, and having the fortune to actually be in those places is extraordinary. Narada Muni, he has given the benediction that if you're in those places hearing these pastimes during the month of Kartik, spoken by a realized soul, a Mahabhagavat, these pastimes will naturally flourish in your heart during this month of Kartik. He's given a benediction that will happen. So we used to hear that, and then we used to go with my Gurudev for many years to all these different places. But it's very wonderful to remember those places. So if you're sitting at home in the Western world, whatever, and you can remember Varshana today, then it's your great fortune to remember the pastimes in Varshana. So many pastimes, flooded with pastimes. Krishna would come from Nandagaon, and sometimes when Radharani would come home from Javat, she would come traditionally. Sridham, her brother, would bring her on a bullock cart. He'd always get there late. In Javat, Radharani would be unhappy that he'd come so late, and then bring him for the swing festival. And then Radharani would perform that Julan Yatra in Varshana. with all her Sakhis and friends. And Krishna would always come, somehow or other. We have to, Radha and Krishna are one. Just like heat and fire, you can't separate them. Where is there fire without heat? Is there such a thing? So is there such a thing as Krishna without Radha? Cannot be. So this is always connecting. So Radharani is there. And just 7 miles or 7 kilometers is Nandagaon from there. And the town in the middle is Sanket, where they would have signals with mirrors or with smoke signals, flags, to indicate their movements with each other. So these are all littered with sweet pastimes and leelas all around this area. It's a very beautiful place to wander in any time of the year, but in Kartik in particular, it's most exceptional. Okay, so now we come to our Damodarastakam. And yesterday we were discussing, because my Gurudev brought it up, the Brahmara Geet, which is one of the most sweet, heart-rendering geets. 5 geets. There's Venu Geet, Pranaya Geet, Gopi Geet, Yugal Geet, and Brahmara Geet. The geets are all moods of separation moods. But the Brahmara Geet is the most extreme separation because they're there for 100 years. And the pastime with the bumblebee coming and Srimati Radhika chastising this bumblebee. And there's 10 verses there that describe the different types of jalpa, chitra jalpa, jalpa, ajalpa, sujalpa, avijalpa, ajalpa, parijalpa, all the different jalpas that are described. And I touched on it just a little bit yesterday. But you yourselves, we're going to post we've actually prepared it today. We haven't quite finished it though. But we'll send just those 10 verses and you can look online at those 10 verses and appreciate this Uddhav Kyari Brahmara Geet mood of Sri Radhika. So now on page 113 we've come to, and I'll just read the paragraph, the translation of the verse where we reached, which was from page 112. So saintly people, this is the translation of Evam Vrata Swapriya Nam Kirtya. Saintly people who have firmly devoted themselves to serving Sri Bhagavan with deep love, constantly engage in kirtan of the names of Sri Krishna they most love. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribo, Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribo, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. All these different kirtans of your particular flavored Krishna and the pastimes are there. When deep attachment, anurag, arises in them, their hearts thoroughly melt and they become mad in love of God. When the heart thoroughly melts, there's no consideration of the material world. Material world is material. It's static. There's nothing really, it's like two-dimensional practically. But we give it so much importance because the rest of the society is giving it importance. So we just become like little mice and we follow along whatever the government says, and we bow our heads, yes, 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 and we hook in, we connect in with this material wheel, this cycle. And it's so boring. But once we realize the temporary nature of that illusory wheel, we can begin to extract ourselves from it and just become like mendicants. But there's not going to be like some special facility for us when we do that. The facility will be in the core of the heart of actually satisfaction and happiness in serving Radha and Krishna. But externally, as is described in the verse, the previous verse I think it was, they become like beggars wandering through the forest of Braj, like birds without shelter. Yes, that's what actually happens. There isn't any facility, because actually at that stage you don't want any facility. You don't need any facility. You have Krishna. If Krishna is bubbling in the heart, what else do you need? It's everything. With deep attachment, anurag arises in them. Their hearts thoroughly melt and they become mad in love of God. They laugh and cry loudly Agitated by love, they sing about their Lord in sweet voices. And just like madmen, without any trace of shyness, they dance and sing unaffected by the opinions of ordinary people. And we describe just like what do you call a prototype of that, is a Sankirtan party, just dancing down the streets of the biggest capitals in the world, just wearing bits of cloth and chanting loudly, banging on cymbals and drums, and very happily, ecstatically chanting the holy names of the Lord. I mean, it's just an amazing movement that Mahaprabhu has manifested, that should be our traditional activity, is this Sankirtan, particularly in the streets, to, even if they don't understand it, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra is going to penetrate something in the heart that they don't even know about. And maybe straight away, or after some months or years, something will act, or even in the next life, something will take place because they've actually heard the sound vibration of the holy name. So there's nothing more fortunate for the jiva than to hear that sound of the holy name. This is why the devotees, they sacrifice their whole lives. I know in New York, they go every single day, regardless. They have different temples in New York, and and London, and Rome, Paris, Toronto, everywhere. They're always just going on this Harinam Sankirtan. So this is the most wonderful activity. This is what Mahaprabhu has inaugurated for the general mass. And once you've chanted Hare Krishna for some time, then your consciousness starts to inquire, what is this Hare Krishna? Why am I feeling so ecstasy? Oh, it's empowered by Srimati Radhika. Oh, who is she? Oh, she lives in Varsana. And then you start hearing all the different, and then gradually the heart starts to, it's a process. Even Krishna's flute, a dry piece of bamboo, drives the three worlds mad when it is touched by the powerful nectar of Sri Krishna's lips. It even drives the inanimate objects mad. Mountains will melt. The rivers will begin to flow in the other way, or even freeze. They even go solid. It's described sometimes the swans in the Jamuna, when they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, the Jamuna freezes. It just goes hard instead of its nature of being soft. And the duck's feet, they stick inside the river. They have to, try to get themselves out and so on. But the flute affects everything. The flute sound is the first sound vibration that manifested in the core of Lord Brahma's heart, which, when we look at the different elements, from earth, water, fire, ether, sound is the first element. It's the most subtle element, is sound vibration. And the original sound vibration is Krishna's flute, embodied in the Kam Bij mantra that we say. This is the embodiment of Krishna's flute sound. Have you heard Krishna's flute? I pray to hear Krishna's flute. I never heard his flute. Have you heard his flute? You've heard his flute? Maybe Jai has heard his flute, because he's living here all the time in Radhakund. But we pray to hear.
A few days before when Bengali group came there,
Yes, I was listening. Yeah, I was listening. But that's not the same as Krishna's flute. Krishna's flute is something extraordinary. As soon as he plays that flute, everything transforms. Yes. And when the gopis steal Krishna's flute, Krishna becomes really miserable. It's wonderful. But the gopis are envious of the flute. Why is the flute taking all the nectar of Krishna's bimba like lips and drinking it when it's our property? This is called a rishya. This is like transcendental envy. We hear this in Venugit. They become angry with the flute. Even Sri Krishna's flute, a dry piece of bamboo, drives the three worlds mad when it's touched by the powerful nectar of Krishna's lips. However, the gopis regard the flute with spite. Spite means with anger, jealousy, as if it were their co-wife. Why is the flute? It's a male, and drinking all this nectar. This nectar should only be for the females, the gopis, for us.
गोप्यः किमाचरदयं कुशलं स्मवेणुं दामोदराधरसुधामपि गोपिकानां भुङ्क्त्वे स्वयं यदवसिष्ठरसं हृदिन्यो ह्रस्वत्वचोश्रुमुमुचुस्तरवो यधार्यः.
Nice. So that's from the Venugit, what we've just described, 21 chapter, verse 9. Oh dear Sakis, we cannot imagine what sort of sadhan and bhajan the flute must have performed in previous births, that in our very presence it is drinking the nectar of Damodar's lips, which rightfully belong to us alone. It is not even sparing a drop of that rasa for us. On the pretext of their blossoming lotus flowers, the rivers which are nourished by the flute with their water, rasa, are exhibiting symptoms of ecstatic haripulation. The trees, who are the forefathers of the flute, are equal to the best of men. Seeing their descendant filled with such intense love for the Lord, they have become overjoyed, and tears of ecstasy are flowing from their eyes. This is the vision when one understands the reality of this Vishuddha Sattva, the real reality of this world, not this Mayic, hologram, reflection, this Mayic reflection that we are so happy in. Because if we weren't happy in it, we'd get out of it. But obviously we are happy and very attached to it, so we stay in it. But when that becomes uncomfortable enough, then our inquiry seriously into that other dimension begins. The strength to attain these exalted feelings will enter our hearts by reciting the prayers of the exalted acharyas in our Guru Varga, headed by Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath. Yes, by always chanting these prayers, like Damodarastakam, for example. So many prayers. Raghunath Das Goswami has composed so many prayers in the Stavavali. There are so many prayers there. And Rupa Goswami in his Stavavali, in his Padyavali, so many incredible prayers. And if we regularly recite these prayers, hear the music of those prayers, even just reciting those prayers, there's music within them. There's so much beauty, and what the images that they're actually giving to us is so enlivening for the heart. Headed by Sri Rupa and Raghunath. Then step by step, we will make progress on the path of bhakti. In Sri Radhika Padapadma Vignapati, Sri Rupa Goswami prays, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavakayate Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. O Radha, all glories to you, the most beloved of Madhav. You are the most celebrated among all the young damsels of Gokul. Damadara Rati Vardhana Veshe Harinishkuta Brinda Vipineshe. The beautiful way you dress causes Sri Damodar's attachment to you to swell. You are the presiding goddess of Sri Hari's pleasure groves in the forest of Vrindavan. Krishna is that supreme Lord. He's that independent Lord. He's the potency, the Shaktiman. And Sri Radhika is the energy coming from Krishna. And that energy has completely covered the energetic aspect of Krishna himself. So, like the sun is surrounded by the sunshine. It's the sunshine that is affecting everybody. So the sunshine is like the Shakti manifesting from the sun. But the sunshine actually is controlling, ultimately, in rasa vichar. When we consider from the point of view of rasa, then this Shakti is controlling Krishna. Rishabhanudadi Navashashileke Lalita Saki Gunaramita Vishake. From the milk ocean of Sri Rishabhanu Maharaj's affection, You have arisen like a beautiful young moon. O dear friend of Lalita, by your qualities of playfulness and friendship, you have enchanted the heart of your intimate Saki, Vishaka. Vishaka was born at exactly the same moment as Sri Radhika. So, the friendship described by Rupa Goswami, particularly in Vidagdha Madhav, between these Sakis is extraordinary. Radharani can't meet Krishna without the intervention of the Sakis. And the Sakas, the Priyanam Sakas, Madhu Mangal, Subal, etc. All of these support the whole Leela. Without them, the Leelas can't actually transpire. They have to have this support there. And it just creates such a festive mood, always. In Vrindavan, it's full of intrigue. Because it's Parakya Ras. If it wasn't Parakya Ras, how would there be intrigue? If it was Swakya, oh Krishna, did you take out the rubbish today? Oh Krishna, this, like in a household situation. That's what like in Dwarka, it's a different mood completely when it's Swakya. But Parakya is filled with stimulating, exciting pastimes. Plus, of course, Chandravali is there in the whole mix. Jyotila is there. Essential personalities. Karanum karumayi karanum barite sanaka sanatana vanite charite. You are so full of mercy that great yogis and brahmacharis like Sri Sanak Kumara and Sanatan Kumara are always engaged in describing your exalted nature. So please be merciful to me. Like these great brahmacharis are describing the beauties and speciality of Sri Radhika. They're celibate practitioners, totally celibate, but they are fascinated by Radhika's glories and her speciality. And of course, Sachinandan Gaurahari, he takes that mood and complexion of Sri Radhika. Radha Krishna Pranaya, no, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kid, no, that's not. Sri Radha Krishna Pranaya, Sri Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritya Hladini Shakti Asmad Ekatmanav. They are one, they have become one, Radha and Krishna. Adevika Kubaragat Gatayadya Vacha Yachani Patya Bhuvidanda Vipu Aparti Asya Prasadam Abudasya Janasya Kritve Gandharvikeni Jagana Gananam Videhi. This is from the Gandharvika Samparstakam. O Devi Gandharvika, I am suffering greatly. I have fallen at your feet, and I'm lying on the ground in front of you just like a stick. With a choked voice, I am begging you, please be merciful to this fool and count me as one of your own. So there are so many prayers beseeching Sri Radhika to accept us as one of her own. So many prayers. So many prayers are there for us to remember the speciality of Sri Radhika's beauty. As we sing these verses, we should meditate on our Guru Varga and consider it is you who are actually submitting these prayers. It is you who are singing them. Without your mercy, I will never be qualified to make such prayers. It is only by their mercy that we can follow in their footsteps and pray like this, and thus gradually attain loving service to the divine couple of Braj. So it's a process. What is sadhan bhajan? We have to know that process. And my Gurudev is sharing this aspect of our sadhan bhajan to constantly have these prayers around us and be reciting them, remembering them. And then when we go like today for a parikrama of Radhakund, knowing these prayers to chant to all the different personalities. And gradually remembering all these prayers, and especially the personalities, the murtis, they understand the language of Sanskrit. So when we chant these prayers, they will appreciate that mood. They will appreciate that honor that we're offering them. So we should try to understand these mantras. My Gurudev used to say all the time that mantra is the most powerful sound vibration, is mantra. Like we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and we see directly how it transforms the consciousness every morning. Every morning when we're doing our puja, we chant so many mantras to please and satisfy the Lord. So these mantras are very important for us. We say our Gayatri mantras. These are very important also, very purifying for the soul. There are two modes of meditation, Mantramayi Upasana and Swarasiki Upasana. Upasana means worship. So mantra is a single pastime. Swarasiki is many pastimes. When one deliberately concentrates on remembering only one particular pastime while performing bhajan, it is called Mantramayi Upasana. But when Sri Bhagavan's pastimes manifest in one's heart spontaneously, one after another, it is called Swarasiki Upasana. When we read the beautiful descriptions of Vilap Kusumanjali, for example, by my Gurudev, he non-stop just speaks pastime after pastime after pastime. It doesn't stop. He just gets into a flow, and it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other, just flowing. And he shares that with us to show that heart filled with remembrance of those pastimes and just flowing out. And there are many very rasik preachers who also just share with the conditioned souls that mood of a flow tumbling from their hearts of all these different incredible pastimes, one after, just non-stop. When performing bhajan in Braj, only Swarasiki Upasana is present. In Braj, wherever the sadhak goes, he has spurtis, momentary visions of Sri Krishna's eternally new pastimes. They're always here. If we're purifying our consciousnesses sufficiently, we will become aware of these pastimes. If we're thinking of these pastimes, then Krishna eventually will give us the vision to see and witness these pastimes. This is the purpose to live in Braj. This is why all the indications, Tishtem Braje Tanuragi Janugami, this is the essence of all advice, is to live in Vrindavan, to witness, to remember all these pastimes. And then we will have, even in Goradam, we see in Jaivadama how Vijay Kumar, he has, and Brajanath also, Sannyasi Thakur, when he first comes, I think in the second or third chapter, and he sees the whole of Mayapur manifest there, and he sees all the personalities worshipping Gaurachandra, and he sees the Vaishnavas. So it's this, Mayapur and Goradam and Brajadam are the same. So all these pastimes are there. Beholding new spirities everywhere he looks, he exclaims, "O Sri Krishna, perform this pastime here." But then beholds another spirity, and he performs that pastime over there. In an unbroken chain, Sri Krishna's pastimes are stirred up in his heart. Swarasiki Upasana is called Raganuga, or Loba Moy Bhakti, bhakti imbued with intense hankering. All our Guru Varga are immersed solely in this mode of meditation. These are wonderful instructions and guidelines for bhajan that my Gurudev is sharing here. This is the purpose of our practice, is to try to connect with this inner bhajan. We can do this if we do it regularly. It's the regulation. It's every single day. Ahoitiki apratihata, without interruption. Daily, we want to be immersed. Whatever our situations are, at least 1 or 2 hours in the morning is best to have an opportunity to enter into this flavor of Braj. That means we have to organize our time sufficiently. If we have to go to work, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something, then we have to get up earlier to give us that break of a couple of hours If if it's less than a couple of hours, it's going to be difficult. And how do we get up early? We go to bed early. I've said this many times. If you try to take rest early, because you have to get your proper rest. If you don't get your rest, it's not going to be so healthy for you. So try to manage your lives and your diet also. If you eat huge meal at night, how are you going to get up in the morning? You'll be digesting, actually your digestion will stop at night. So the first thing when you wake up in the morning, your digestion will begin again. That won't be necessarily healthy for a sadhak. All these things we have to consider if you want bhajan, if you want to actually enter this world. Sri Satyavrat Muni prayed, Alam Laksha Labai. Millions of other attainments are of no use to me. While his prayer, until this point, has reflected the mood of someone absorbed in Vatsalya Ras, we should not mistake these words to mean that he rejects the attainment of something higher than Vatsalya Prem. Fortunately, however, if one obtains the association of one of Srimati Radhika's companions, her mood will enter his heart and cause him to implore Sri Krishna, O Sri Krishna, if you are pleased with me and if you want to give me something, and then he will submit this prayer.
Syama Sundara Shikandi Shekhara Smerahasa Murali Manohara Radhika Rasika Mam Kripanidhe Sapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru.
Kinkarim again. This
Kinkarim
kinkari.
Kuru, yeah.
This kinkari. What can I do? What can I do? This is kinkari. It's like a manjari mood. So this is Vitalacharya. O Shama Sundar, O beautiful dark boy with a peacock feather crown, you playfully smile and your flute completely bewilders our mind. You are expert at tasting the nectar of Srimati Radhika's love, and you are an ocean of mercy. Please make me a maidservant of your beloved lotus feet. Kinkarim is Kinkarim Karu, maidservant. When Sri Krishna is truly satisfied, he considers it his own success to bestow this benediction upon the sadhaks and sadhakas. This is how the process of Rupanuga Bhajan gradually unfolds. We pray that the fruit of our bhajan will be that he gives us this topmost benediction. This commentary is divine. It's very beautiful how my Gurudev is carrying us through. So we'll continue. We have another 10 minutes or so. So we'll come into verse 6. Now this verse 6 is Satyavrat Muni realizes that it's Sankirtan that is going to attract Krishna, the names of Krishna. So Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu. These are names of Krishna. Prasida Prabhu Dukha Jalabdi Magnam. Kripa Dristi Visyati Dinam Bhatanu. Griyane Shamam Agnam. Edya Aksha Drishya. O Deva, O you who have a divine form, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. O you who are Bhakta Vatsal, affectionate to your devotees. O Damodar, O Ananta, Lord of inconceivable, magnificent potencies. O all-pervasive Vishnu, O Prabhu, my master, be pleased with me. I am drowning in an ocean of incessant worldly miseries. Alas, I am extremely miserable, and I do not know what to do. O Isha, supremely independent controller, please deliver me by the nectarian shower of your merciful glance, and enliven me by becoming directly visible to my eyes. He wants to see Krishna. He wants to see, have darshan directly. He's talked about having Krishna in the heart, but he wants to see directly Krishna. And we understand the history that Satyavrat Muni, he takes birth in his next birth as the son of the sun god, Vivishwan, as Vaibhashvatu Manu. He takes birth as the son and then becomes Vaibhashvatu Manu. So he actually does get this benediction fulfilled because he directly sees in this 7th Manvantara Krishna's pastimes directly in Vrindavan, right? As Manu, he's going to see that, he's going to witness this. So all his innermost desires are going to be fulfilled. Do you understand? He takes he's manifest. This is spoken in the Chakshush Manvantara, which is the 6th Manvantara, the one before this one. So now we're in this 7th Manvantara. And the Manu is Vaivashvatu Manu, who is actually an incarnation of Satyabrat Muni. And now he's seeing this pastime. So this benediction has come alive for him. So he's already had a spurti. In the previous verse, it was described that he was having a spurti. But now he wants more than a spurti. He wants to have direct darshan of Krishna. So now we have the commentary, this Digdarshani Tika, Bhavanuvad by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. By the power of his prayers, an uncommon type of prem instantly arose within Satyabrat Muni's heart. By the power of his prayers. What prayers? We've just discussed all those prayers. Even that Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite. This is like a prayer, not just a kirtan to enjoy the sweetness of the sound, etc. But it's a prayer by Rupa Goswami. These are prayers. So by his uncommon, the power of his prayers, an uncommon type of prem, instantly arose within Sri Satyabrat Muni's heart. And he now expresses his intense longing to Sri Bhagavan directly. Within his mind, he concluded that the best means to attain direct darshan of Sri Bhagavan is indeed Sri Nam Sankirtan. And therefore, in this verse, beginning with Namo Deva, he submits himself to his Lord through fervent prayers in the form of Sri Nam Sankirtan. Just like the gopis, they perform the first Sankirtan. What is it? Jayati Tedikam Janmana Praja Shrayata Indira Shashvadatrahi Daita Drishyatam Dikshutakas Tvaitrita Shabas Tvam Vichinvate. This is their Sankirtan, to attract Krishna. All 18 verses are attracting Krishna, and they do attract Krishna. He comes after they sing this. This is, they've searched everywhere for Krishna. They can't find Krishna. And they conclude the only way is Sankirtan, just like Satyabrat Muni is doing. One should understand that even though the sage intended to use the word tubhyam, unto you, after the word nama, to complete the grammatical construction, he left it out, either because of apprehension, reverence, or because he simply lost control of himself due to the prem arising within his heart. Consequently, he was unable to address Sri Bhagavan directly. Consequently, he was unable to address Sri Bhagavan so directly. Sri Satyabrat Muni addresses his Lord, O Prabhu, my master, O Ishvara, O supreme controller. He next says, Prasida, be pleased with me. In other words, he explains what gracious favor he seeks from his Lord. If his Lord is pleased with him, Prasida. The reason he seeks the favor of his Lord is described in the words Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam. Sri Satyabrat Muni says, I am drowning, Magna, in an unbroken series, Jal, of miseries, Dukkha. The miseries or Dukkha described here may be considered either the miseries born of material existence in the form of repeated birth and death, or else the suffering he feels by not being able to see his Lord. Interesting. Two types of miseries. Miseries in this world, adhyatmic, adibautic, adidevik, these miseries, and birth, death, disease, old age, etc., or the miseries of not seeing his Lord. So both are there. And both of these forms of misery are going to be like stimulants to increase his bhajan. Sometimes when the miseries become so intense, Radharani will give us some different types of material suffering. I watched so many pilgrims, parikramas, yatris coming around in the previous weeks, And so many had like bandages on their feet or some sort of, you know, they looked like they were, but all had big smiles on their faces, but still their bodies were, you know, you could see it was difficult. But that difficulty is what gives us the impetus. If there was no difficulty, we'd just lie down and go to sleep. Such miseries are boundless and are therefore compared to an ocean. Abdi. He says, Ati dinam, tormented by such incessant misery. I am suffering greatly, therefore be pleased with me. Srila Sanatana Goswami now illuminates further meanings of Ati dinam. Sri Satyabrat Muni also indicates, because I am deprived of the support of saintly association, I cannot perform sadhan bhajan. I therefore remain extremely wretched and destitute. Or, although I am somehow still alive, I am nearly dead because of my intense hankering to see you. I have no idea how to alleviate my incessant suffering. Therefore he continues, Kripa Dristi, please cast upon me your uninterrupted compassionate glance, which is like a downpour, vristya, of nectar. In this way, anugrahana, revive me by completely delivering me from this ocean of misery. With the words Edya Akshya Drishya, the sage explains exactly what gracious favor he seeks from his master. He prays, please become directly visible to my eyes. You see the escalation. First of all, he just wanted to see Balagopal in his heart. Then he only wanted to see the face in his heart. But now he wants direct darshan of Krishna. So everything is escalating through. That gives it the potency of this astakam, because it's so much moving, it's so dynamic. This is why we sing it every single day in the month of Kartik. It's loaded with udipan, with inspiration towards taking shelter of Radha and Krishna. With the words, since there is nothing more really achieved than direct darshan of Sri Krishna, it would not have been appropriate for Sri Satyabrat Muni to request it at the very beginning of his prayers. So he's had to build it before he makes his request. This is the goal that he's coming to. It's been a gradual process. This is the reason for the sequence of his prayers. I find personally this sequence is very easy for me to connect with when it's step by step by step by step, just like in Upadeshamrita. It's step by step by step, culminating in the 11th verse, coming to Radha Kund. It's a step-by-step process. Makes it easy for the conditioned souls to walk through if we're giving the stepping stones. Regarding direct darshan with sound logic, Sri Bhagavan's associates have personally established how direct vision of Bhagavan is more glorious than vision of him within the heart. So we started with vision in the heart, but actually what is more glorious in Brihat Bhagavatamrita is described that direct vision is the highest. The excellence of this goal is explained in Sri Brihat Bhagavatamrita, Uttarakhand 3, 179 to 182. Then there's a footnote here describing that. I'll just read this. In the first and second verse, Sri Satyabrat Muni offers pranam to Sri Damodar, who is controlled by the prem of his devotees. In the third verse, he offers repeated vandnam, or prayers unto him. In the fourth and fifth verses, he condemns all the goals of life, beginning with moksha, and prays for the Balagopal form of Sri Krishna to forever manifest within his heart. Only now, in the sixth verse, is he praying for direct darshan of Bhagavan. The sequence of prayers in this verse is as follows. Prasida, kindly be pleased with me. Anugrahani, by the shower of your compassionate glance upon me, completely deliver me from the ocean of suffering. And Akshya Drishya Edya, please become visible to my eyes. That footnote is very nice capsulation. You could write that out, verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, and it's it's easy for us to access. It's almost mathematical, right? It's scientific, isn't it? One step by one step by. We can understand that with logic. It's not so esoteric. It's not out of our grasp. The conclusion is out of our grasp. That's ahoitiki, that's achintya. But at least the process to achieve it is not. In the beginning of this stanza, Sri Satyabrat Muni addresses the Lord with various names. Oh, it's quite a long description here. I'll stop here now and we'll describe these different names and forms of the Lord that Satyabrat Muni is referencing, which are very beautiful, which constitute the Sankirtan, or the glories of Krishna's holy names. So we'll begin this section tomorrow. Sri Satyabrat Muni ki jai. He's carrying us, Satyabrat Muni. He's carrying us through to the highest conception. And the acharyas are supporting us all the way. We're so fortunate. Sri Damodarastakam ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Premanandi, Hari Bol, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavaya Namo.